Thank you for watching. Welcome to Jamie TV, where we do not pissy pants about. If I'm looking super happy today, it's because just before sitting down to record this, I noticed I've just hit 900 subscribers. That's a difficult word to say, and so from here on I'm going to say subs. It was my intention to hit 900 subs by Christmas Day. It's only the 16th of December, so I am super happy. I'd like to thank all of the other YouTubers, the developers and the subscribers to the channel for having such faith in me, and I've received some wonderful support. And it makes me very happy. I'm working very hard on my YouTube channel at the moment. I really want to take this somewhere. Okay, so today we are going to take a look at the brand new app from BLEASS, the Motion EQ. And you may very well be asking yourself, well, what's a Motion EQ? I know I did. When they sent me the beta, it was called something else. It was called the EQ3, I believe. So I was super confused about what it was, but actually it's something very simple, and will be pretty easy to explain. So basically, if you're looking for an EQ to use as a plug-in inside your door perhaps, then this is not the app for you. This is an app, like all apps from BLEASS actually, that is going to give you lots of control, lots of ability to shape the sound of an instrument in a creative and interesting way. What we have is 3 bands of EQ, which you can set yourself. So you've got like low, middle and top, and you can set where low ends, where middle begins, etc. And then what you can do, there are 2 LFOs, and so you can assign an LFO to one of those EQ bands and make it move, right? You can choose the waveforms and set the speeds, and it also has Multibus out. Now, if all of that sounds like a bit of a nonsense at the moment, I promise you, when I'm done explaining this, it will all make lots of sense. So let's get stuck into that. Just before I get stuck into showing you how the app works, I'm just going to use a drum computer loop and a few presets in Motion EQ just to give you a bit more idea of the kind of sounds it can make. Okay, here we go. We're in Cubasis 3. We've got Poison 202 and this little groove thing going on. And I've got Motion EQ as an insert effect here. Let's switch it on and go in and have a look at it. And if you look at the blue section in the middle here, you'll see 3 frequency bands, low, mid and high. And if I press play, use these frequency bands to manipulate my sound just as you'd expect in any other 3-band EQ. Okay, now let me just reset those to 0 with a double click on each band. Now what makes this app particularly clever is that you can adjust whereabouts the low frequency ends and where the mid begins, where mid ends, and where the high frequency begins. And that is much easier to demonstrate than it is to say. So I'll show you. I can mute off here, mid and high, and then I'm going to set my low frequency. If I grab this handle here, I can kind of pull this down so that all that this low frequency band is handling is like the very subby sounds, or we can have a broader range of low end. And then I can do the same thing, obviously, for my mid. And my high. Now this is particularly useful because you could use this for all kinds of things, but just one off the top of my head, let's say if you've got a bass guitar part and you're having a little bit of difficulty making it kind of stand out in the mix, you want to hear the notes but you don't want it to be too loud, you could use this to grab these very high frequencies of the bass guitar. Then you could just use it to boost up the articulation and just make it sit through in the mix, you know, without getting too loud. Or of course you could do the reverse and drop the highs out to make it a nice round sound. Just for the moment, ignore this little section at the bottom. We're going to explore that later on in AUM. Now you'll see that the app has an LFO bolted onto each side of it. They're both identical. So let's take a look at this one over here. And what we can do here is we can create some movement, some motion, some like filtering or sweeping kind of effect by directing one of the LFOs at a target parameter within the app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into target and I'm going to select high gain. Then I'm going to press play, mute off the mid and the low, and now I need to turn up the amount before you'll hear anything. And let me just turn up the high gain as well so you can hear it more clearly. Okay, now let's make it move faster by turning up the rate. We can turn it down and make it move slower, of course. We can make it move super slow, and we can make it move real fast, and many degrees of movement in between, of course. I kind of like it like round about there for now. Alright, now we can have this synced to the beat of the track, or we can remove that and just do it manually, just set a rate manually. I pretty much never do that because I kind of like things, you know, in time, you know. Right, so sync to the beat, and okay, now let's mute that one off and let's do something with this one. Right, so we'll target the mid gain here and turn that one up. Okay, another thing that we can do, of course, is we can change the waveform of the LFO. You'll like this one. And this one's crackers. Okay, now we can also we can offset the phase of the stereo picture. Okay, now let's bring in the high, bring the high back in, and offset that stereo picture too. Right, now let me just turn these volumes down here. Now, I probably shouldn't have used the word offset then, because another thing, and a totally separate parameter, is you can offset when the LFO begins against the timing of the track. So that's easier to show you than to demonstrate. So let me just bring the high back in. Oh, my track's finished. I wonder why there was no sound. There we go. Stupid hippie. Okay, now if I do this, look, you'll see it makes it. Actually, let's just do it with slower rate. It's clearer. Okay, so if I change the offset, it changes when the LFO begins. Okay, and I could do that on both sides, of course, and create a kind of more random kind of an effect. Let's go for a fast one right now. Okay, so here we are in AUM, and that was a track I've just started working on. I've got like 8 bars of it. I'm not saying it's going to be the best tune in the world or anything, but it's something I started tamping around with. I thought I'd use it to demonstrate this to you. Now I'm using Motion EQ to just introduce a little bit of movement into this sound from OBXD. I'm using the silky brass sound, which I'm quite fond of. Now the thing about the Motion EQ is it can put each of these frequency bands out on a different output bus. So instead of each band coming down this channel here, I can send each one to its own channel. So here's how we do that. First of all, I've got 2 channels set up waiting here. So we go to the effects slot here and we click on Multibus audio unit instances, and I select this, and it gives me a channel 2 for Motion EQ, and repeat the same thing, and it gives me a channel 3. So now if I go to Motion EQ and I send the mid to output bus 2 and the high to output bus 3, now before I do this next thing, I must remember to solo my mic so I can continue to speak to you. Okay, now if I also solo the low end, we should just have the very low frequency here. Okay, and then we should have mid here and the high over there. And this means that I can mix them on nice big faders like this. And what I should have said there, but forgot because I'm an aging hippie, is that because the app gives you separate output buses, it actually opens more doors for you to continue shaping your sound. You could add a different selection of effects, for example, to each output bus. Like you might not be bothered about adding reverb to the low end of a synth, but you might want to add a nice shimmer to the top end, and so on and so on. Opens up lots of possibilities. So this app, it provides lots of very subtle sound shaping and filtering possibilities, right through to some quite psychedelic extreme nonsense. And I like both and everything in between. I've found it very easy to learn, very easy to use, and I do recommend this app. I've promised the subscribers and myself that on this channel I will not say something's good if it's not, just because a developer sent it to me, and I will not tell any fibs on anyone's behalf. So I promise you this app is something that I would buy, and I do definitely recommend it if you're into, shaping and sculpting sound, and if like me you particularly like using old school synth sounds but then trying to do something just to kind of just change it up a little bit, then this app probably is for you. So I hope that I've given you enough insight into this app to understand how it works, and to be able to decide for yourself whether this is something that would work for you. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to give me the old thumb up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, like the rest of my beautiful subscribers, then please do subscribe. Ding my bell if you'd like to be notified of further nonsense from me, and if I can help you in any way with anything music related, then just fire away, don't be shy. My email address is down below the video for that very reason. All my social media stuff is there, you can contact me on any platform. There's some interesting stuff happening at my Patreon account at the moment if you'd like to check that out. There's my web address, links to my music, and all of that good stuff. So, until my next video, be a good person, be kind to each other, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and don't pissy pants about. See you later.